Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live webinar with myself, Christy from Success Web. We also have Dave with us. He's going to be keeping an eye on the questions and the chat as that comes alive, as it always does during these sessions. And welcome. I'm so happy that you were able to spend some time with me today. And I'm excited because today we're going to share some of the new approaches that I plan personally to implement as we get into the new year. And hopefully we'll get all of you excited about some of these new approaches that will help you get in touch with more ideal prospects. I think that one of the themes that I've really been focusing on is not so much quantity, but quality. And we always say that digital marketing is a numbers game and how important it is to just have as many leads coming in as possible, get out in front of as many people as possible. But I'm starting to realize now that there is something to be said for being very specific and very intentional in who you are targeting. And it's not easy, right? I mean, yes, we could, in real estate, let's say you've got your farm area or your target market or places that you want to do business. So yes, you could go into that neighborhood, you could knock on doors, you could try to have as many conversations as possible and try to get more business that way. Realtors have been doing it since the beginning of the real estate industry, and it probably still works to some degree. I mean, you might luck out. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, a lot of legwork, right? Get a lot of doors shut in your face, which is not fun either. So with that in mind, we're going to talk a bit about that. We're going to just talk about some of the new trends, the latest trends and developments in digital marketing. As you know, this is an industry that is ever evolving. And we've been doing these live webinars for over 10 years. And I have to say, each and every year, there's all sorts of new stuff that we need to think about and learn. And that's what makes it really exciting. And I'm glad that all of you are on board with me today because it shows that you too are excited about all of the new developments that are happening in our industry. It's hard to believe that 2023 was actually the beginning, I think, and I may be wrong. I mean, Dave, maybe you can chime in here and correct me, but I think ChatGPT actually was launched in 2023. Again, I could be wrong. It could have been the end of 2022, but it hasn't been a long time, basically.
Oh.
And hey, Dave, there you are.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Yep,
it was just last year.
just
Amazing. Seems
last
like it's been
year.
around forever. Yeah.
Seems like it's
Yeah.
been around forever. And I gotta say, it's one of those things that I use almost daily. I mean, I'm practically asking OpenAI for relationship advice. Like it's kind of crazy, like how ubiquitous it's become and just how much we're using it. So, needless to say, it's going to be an important part of your business. And of course, understanding how to use it is also going to be very, very important as well. Also, video marketing. Okay. Like video is not new. I'm on video right now. Okay. We're live streaming this webinar. Of course, COVID came on the scene, and all of a sudden, all we do is sit here on our webcams on video. So that's not necessarily new. I think what we need to think about is how can we use video as a way to really personalize our marketing, right? So how can we use video to engage with our audience and to really personalize our communication and our marketing? So, the term authentic is used a lot, right? You want to be authentic, you want to be personable, and this and that. And I think sometimes that is almost like it's it makes it seem more overwhelming than it should be, I think. And also let us know in the chat if you're in this position as well, that you're reluctant to get on video because you don't necessarily want to give people a glimpse into your personal life or your persona. Like, you'd like to keep business in one little section and you like to keep your personal life in another. And I think that often, and I've fallen into this as well, I feel like social media is almost like too much. Like, I don't need to know what you're having for lunch. I don't need to know like every moment of your day and what you're doing. So there's a fine line between oversharing and just being authentic. So when it comes to things like live streaming, video content, creating those things, I think we need to come at it from a point of this type of intention, and that is to create trust and almost like a sense of maybe a tribe of true fans, perhaps. This all plays into your social media strategy big time, okay? And there are some of you out there who are really, really good at promoting yourself on social media, but I know that there's a lot of you that struggle with it. I struggle with it as well. I'm not really comfortable with doing that. But it can be an extremely effective way to build that tribe, to build that audience. And if you approach it in that manner, is like, this is my intention. I want to create this content as a way to communicate effectively, try to be authentic as you can. And that way, you're going to be creating content with that purpose in mind. It will attract people to you, right? You will attract like-minded people that agree with what you're saying and that really resonate with what you're offering. And the way to deliver that content is going to be through things like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn to some degree. All of those social media platforms are going to play a role in that. But the first step is just to have content, right? Just to have some content there that you can share. So with that in mind, when we're creating this content, who should we be sending it to? So there's this method of broadcasting, which is what you're going to use your social media channels for, sending it out to a larger audience. But there's also direct communication that you can do. And that's when you have somebody's information in your database and you can communicate with them directly. But we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to attract the right audience. And this is really tough. This is tough because in the real estate business, you are really just trying to attract anyone in your local target market, or anyone in your local market who's looking to buy or sell. And that's fine, but that could be anybody, over the age of, I don't know, 21. Do people in their 20s buy houses anymore? Yeah, I guess probably some, but it's a pretty big audience, right? Which is great. I mean, you're in a market where there's a lot of potential for customers, but there's also something to be said for really trying to attract the right audience. And just going back to this idea of lead generation, it is a numbers game. And typically our numbers are like, how many leads can we generate? We know we need to generate hundreds of leads in order to get a client. But what if that game changes to conversions? What if we're not so much focused on the number of leads we're getting? We're very focused on our response rates and our conversion rates. And I know personally from the marketing that we've done, when we are hyper-focused on a very specific target audience, we get a much higher response rate and conversion rate. So for example, if I target, let's say 100 prospects. Okay, and I'm talking as a marketer representing a real estate software solution. Okay, I'm a marketer marketing for Success Web, for instance. Okay, so I'm targeting 100 prospects who I know are active real estate agents in, let's say, a specific area like the Greater Toronto area. So let's say I want to target the 100 agents who have a team of more than 3. So I'm not interested necessarily in agents who are solo agents or agents who are part of a team. I want to target agents that have a team of at least 3 people and they have a poorly designed website. How I determine that, I mean, that's subjective, but let's say the group has to meet the 3 criteria. They're in the GTA, they have a team of more than 3, and they have a poorly designed website. Obviously, a site that's been maybe provided by their broker, not much content, not much going on. I can identify that there's something there that we can help them with. So if that's my ideal target, and if I target those 100 prospects with a series of personalized and problem-specific content about the importance of having a well-designed website and marketing platform for small teams in the GTA, I'm going to have a much higher response rate than just blasting out messages or ads to the tens of thousands of agents in the GTA who I know very little about. So let me know if this is making sense to you. I'm going to just take a peek over at the chat here because I've also got some questions for you to get everyone engaged here in the chat stream. Okay, so first one would be, who is your target audience and how do you define your buyer personas? Do you have a very clear picture of who your target audience is and how do you define their personas? So I will give you a couple minutes here to think about that. And I know that many of you are going to say, sellers, I need listings, right? Sure, I get that. I would ask that you be a little bit more specific, okay? So yes, there are definitely home sellers out there, but what kind of sellers are they? Are they selling because they're emptying the nest? Are they selling because they're moving up to a bigger home? Are they selling because, I don't know, maybe there's been a death in the family, right? Like maybe this is an estate sale. There's all sorts of different scenarios, right? So let's get really specific here when we're defining our personas, because this is really going to help you when it comes down to creating the content that is going to speak to that group. Like a lot of people are running this ad for selling for cash. We'll buy your home for cash. Okay, so if somebody's in a situation where they want to sell their house and they want to just find a cash buyer, what type of person is that? Is that somebody who is like, maybe they got to relocate and they want to sell for cash? Maybe they're going through a divorce and they need, like, there's all sorts of reasons. You guys are the expert. You know more about this than I do. So I'll take a look at the answers in a sec. And I'm also going to ask another follow-up question, okay? Which social media platforms are the most effective for your business right now? Okay, which social media platforms are the most effective for your business and why? Okay. While you're answering that, I'm going to see what some people typed in here. Yep. So Ragid says move up buyers. Okay, that is the target audience that Michael's going for. that Raggy is going for. Michael said, well-qualified cash buyers. Right. People who've got some, they've got some cash. You know, they've got the ability to make those cash purchases without having to worry about taking out loans. Somebody also posted in here, Azim, people who are buying first, so first-time home buyers. Right? So maybe you're targeting a first-time home buyer who is totally unfamiliar with the process. Maybe they're looking for a smaller home. They're looking for a condo. So I'm not seeing a lot of answers for my follow-up question, which is which social platforms are most effective for your business? And maybe that's because you guys are finding that none of them are effective. Okay. That's okay. That's a valid answer if that's the case. But are you using Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok? Are you using any of those social media channels, and do you find that they are effective? You could also say marketplace. You could say Facebook groups. Okay, because I mean, keep in mind you're sharing with everybody on the group here, right? So your input is definitely helpful. And anyhow, you know, we're going to get into some of the nuances to this stuff, but I'm going to ask a couple more questions, and then we're going to get into these 3 new approaches that I have in mind for 2024. Now, have you considered marketing automation tools? And if so, how have they impacted your workflow? So have any of you considered marketing automation? And if so, how have they impacted your workflow? So this could get into automation with follow-up, right? A lot of our participants today use CRMs like Engage, right? Which we're going to look at as a way to automatically follow up with leads. Some of you may be using chat tools. Some of you may be using things to automate posting on social media. So have you considered using them, or are you using them? And if so, how has that impacted your workflow? And here's an interesting example or interesting question, because this will challenge you to think a little bit about what others are doing, either in your market or in your sphere of, or in your, you know, within your peer group. But have you made any adjustments to your approach based on your competitors' successes or failures? Is there anything that you have done or adjusted in terms of your approach just based on what your competitors are doing, because they were either successful or they were not successful? Okay, give you guys a minute or two to put that in. Maybe these are challenging questions. You know, I apologize if I'm making things challenging for you. I've got one more, and that is, what future trends or developments in digital marketing do you see as relevant to your business? Okay, what are the future trends that you see as relevant? Okay, so it could be any type of future trend. It could be AI. It could be the live streaming. You know, there's quite a few things that you may kind of have your eye on and see as relevant. I see that Azim says omni marketing, right? So kind of being everywhere all at once, which is definitely something that I think a lot of people are considering and trying to implement. Okay, Diane saying that buying homes without an agent, right? That could be a development in the industry. buyers being able to go in and buy homes without needing an agent. That is very relevant to the real estate business. Video and AI. There you go. Yep, absolutely. Okay, well, let's now really get into the nitty-gritty of these things. I am going to share my screen. I'm going to show you a few things that relate to these 3 new approaches that I have in mind for 2024. We're going to start with using AI as a tool for conversational marketing. Now, as I'm going through my my screen share here, I am going to stop my video because, to be honest, I don't think it's that interesting to watch me as I'm watching my screen and going through this stuff. So let's talk a little bit about the AI ChatGPT side of things. I am showing this screen here, which is our Success Web Care, because of course, if you need to get in touch with us here at Success Website, this is the place to do it. So successwebcare.com is where you can access our support team. You can log into your command center and you can access all of our Jumpstart learning material. Now, if you are new, if this is your first webinar, if you're brand new to Success, then you may not have access to these things. Okay, you may want to get access, and we certainly want to give you access. So you'll want to contact us and get in touch with our team so we can guide you through the next steps of getting access and becoming a part of our little community here at Success Web. Okay, so let's take a look at our dashboard, at our CRM. So using AI for conversational marketing, so many ways to do this. I'm also going to have ChatGPT open here as well, because knowing the types of prompts to use when you are when you're working with ChatGPT is probably one of the most important things that you're going to want to become really, really good at. And I've used a couple myself, like specifically, let me just go through and see what some of these things are. Like you could type into ChatGPT, what are the best prompts for real estate related content, right? Like I had put in, what are the best prompts for conversational marketing content, for instance. You could put in something like, what are the best prompts for common challenges customers face when buying a home, or how real estate, or how to address real estate service issues, things like that. And then once you've done that type of work, once you have that information, it's very easy now to go into your CRM and to go into your system and start building out some content around these things. Now, Engage is really user-friendly when it comes to adding this content into the system. And I will kind of guide you to a few things here. The templates, so email templates, SMS templates, voicemail recordings, follow-up e-plans, follow-up scripts. These are all areas that you're going to want to utilize more and use some of that content that you've been able to get from ChatGPT, for instance. So if we go into our email templates here, I'll show you just a couple of examples of different emails that you may want to think about. Like if you're, let's say, targeting people who are specifically interested in new construction, then you're going to want to have some email content that is specific to that. If you have campaigns that are for sellers and you're offering a free home evaluation, you're going to want to have content specific to that as well. So start to think about how we can build out these email templates. And it's really easy to create an email template. You just basically go in and you type in your subject line. You can put in graphics, things like that into the message body. We can help you with that as well. If you're working with someone here at Success Web, we can definitely help you with that. But that is definitely worth doing. So if you're targeting, let's say, people who are move-up buyers, you're going to want to have some content, like email content, text message content, that is geared towards that. Now, I think that it's also really important to note that our CRM is supposed to really make things easier for you. And it really should also encourage you to reconnect and reach out to your leads in a variety of ways. Let's start with calling. It's not our favorite activity. I know, I get it. It's not something that people want to just sit down and spend time doing. If you're one of those people on the call today that enjoy sitting down and making those calls, let us know. I think you're kind of a unicorn from what I've come across, but I'm sure you're also fairly successful, in terms of getting a hold of those leads and converting those leads. If you are one of those people that sit down and make the calls, the outcome definitely is worth it. It's a hard activity to sit down and do. So one way that I've approached this with my team and with my clients is you just want to make this activity as easy, as painless as possible. You don't want to have any roadblocks in your way when it comes to making calls. So the idea I've sort of come up with, and you can all agree or disagree if this is a good way to approach it, but I do use text messaging a lot to encourage people to respond and to maybe give maybe a little bit of permission to give somebody a call. So when you're making a call, it really, really helps to have a plan and to have a script. Now, the CRM, as you can see here at the very top, we have our qualification and scripts area. There's nothing new about this, I have to say, other than the fact that you may want to incorporate some different questions into the script, depending on the type of prospect you're dealing with. So within the CRM, we can customize our scripts, right? You could have scripts for very specific circumstances, and you could access them up here. But having this in front of you as you're making the call, I think it can be extremely helpful. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of like what you're going to say. It helps you stay on track with the call. It also helps you qualify those leads as you're talking to them with these various questions that you're going to want to ask. So use things like ChatGPT for customizing your scripts. For instance, if I go into our drop down here and then I click on follow-up scripts, there's going to be an area where I can either edit an existing script or I can create a new one. So here's a custom one that we can go ahead and create. So if I've got something that maybe I want to put in some objections. Okay, so I actually recently did this. I used ChatGPT as a way to provide a list of objections that could possibly come up during a call. Things like, why should I pay a real estate agent when I can do it myself? How can I trust that an agent will prioritize my needs? I can find listings online. Why do I need an agent's help? Right? These are sort of some of the common objections that you may come across when you are making your calls. So I think it's very helpful to have resources at your fingertips that's going to give you the type of response that you want to make when you are faced with that type of scenario or those types of objections, right? So as you can see, I've added them here. So when I'm in a lead record, when I am engaging with the lead, I can easily jump over to that section and I've got that information available to me, right? So if I go into Qualification Scripts, I've got my custom script here. There it is, right? I can go back and forth. So this is going to help you when you're on the phone. Now, we also have our StayInContact, and StayInContact is a communication app that works in tandem with Engage. And this can really help you with the text messaging side of things because it does have the AI conversation integration. So here I am, and this is how I would recommend you organize it if you're using both. You would have Engage open in one tab of your browser, StayInContact is open in another tab, and you can kind of toggle back and forth between the two. And as you can see, the conversation, I mean, the colors are a bit different, but all of the content is there, right? So it's there. Now, let's say this conversation is kind of going cold. Sobia did agree to a call, but I guess that call did not happen. Of course, we could make a call by hitting this button here to start a call, but I don't know if that's going to work so well in this type of environment where we're doing a live webinar. So maybe we'll try that another time. But yes, I would make the call. And then while you're in the call, though, you can be in here looking at your scripts, for instance, right? So you've got the two records open in the same window, just in different tabs. But going back to this idea of the using AI as a way to come up with ideas for responses and conversations, things like that. So if she says, sure, I'm not really sure what to say at this point, but I want to send a message. And when you hit this little button here, it will come up with a response that is taking information from this conversation. Okay, it's looking at the responses that have gone back and forth. It knows this is a conversation about a 3-bedroom home close to transit, which is pretty cool, right? Like the fact that we can just put in a message that is relevant to what's been discussed already through text, I think is exactly what we want. We don't just want some generic message. So Sobia would go ahead, she would get this message and say, yeah, I already said you could give me a call and I'm agreeing to it again, right? And then there we go, time to get on the phone and make that call. What's also nice here, and I know that we've gone through this a couple times already, is when you do make a call, okay, so StayInContact calling is all done through the app. So it's not connecting to your own cell phone the way that Engage does. It's totally independent of that. It's all through the app, but the calls still get recorded and the recordings are accessed through both Engage and StayInContact. So the way that I like to describe it to our members, because I know that we've got some long-term Engage users who are definitely very comfortable and used to working in this environment, there's a lot you can do in here, right? We've got our scripts, we've got tasks, we've got our e-plans, we've got our action plans. There's a lot we can do in here that is not necessarily available in StayInContact yet right now. So this is still going to be your main CRM, Engage. But StayInContact is essentially going to be your method for communicating with your leads because we have these extra bells and whistles, right, that are included with that. So anyone who's calling you, incoming calls would come in through the app. You're making calls through the app. It's using voice over IP calling, so you can make calls from anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter. Okay, it's not connected to your cell phone. So this is important for you to understand. It's also an important reason why you should try to use this as a communication tool. It's also something you're going to have installed on your phone so that when people do respond to your messages, you're going to get notified on your phone. And of course, you're going to be out in the field, on the road. You're going to want to be able to get to those people quickly and efficiently. Really, really important to have that on your mobile device. Also is a great way for you to monitor your team's activity, because if you've got other people in your team who are making calls and responding to these leads, you're going to be able to monitor all of that activity here, right? You're going to see who's sending out messages, who's calling people, who's responding. That's all going to be available here as well, which you can monitor on your phone. So really important for team leaders. Okay, so that is how you can use StayInContact for sending out text messages using AI. And also, just keep in mind that that those follow-up scripts can be customized as well. We also have the ability, just so you know, it's not something that you can do necessarily within the command center, but this role with the conversation AI, we can program it, right? We can do some work on the back end to really program what type of role we are conversing as. So this could be like a support person, this could be a realtor, this could be like a new construction expert. Like there's some pretty cool things that we can do within this particular tool to streamline it for your specific business. Like if you're not in real estate, for instance, right? If you're in some other service-based business, whether it be a roofing company, moving company, maybe you've got a staging company that you're generating leads for. StayInContact can actually be used for all sorts of different industries and businesses. And right now, of course, we focus on real estate and realtors, but this conversation AI can go any which way we want. So I think that's going to be exciting to watch how that develops. And we're also looking at ways to automate responses as well. So if somebody did respond back, sure, we're going to be able to tell the AI, okay, if that's what happens, we want this other response to go out. So it is truly conversational, but we have to be very careful about the types of responses, because I don't think consumers in general are too jazzed about conversing with a chatbot. I know for me, that would be a turnoff for me if I got a sense that I wasn't talking to a real person. So I think we have to be really careful about that. I just saw something in the chat there from Michael showing the custom script again. So this is where we access the custom script right here in Engage, Qualification Scripts. We've got our custom script here. And where we add the custom scripts is in our EngageCRM dropdown, follow-up scripts. Okay, that's where you would go in and you should be able to create a custom script within there. Okay, Azim's asking, how do we turn on alerts when responses come in? So that's all done through the app. I think that's another big reason why having the app is important, because anytime somebody replies to your message, you're going to get an alert on your phone. It will come in here as well into the app. You'll be able to see all of that incoming. It also will show up here in Engage in the notifications bell up here in the right-hand corner. You'll see this is where your notifications come in. But you got to keep an eye on that, right? It's not going to necessarily ping you on your phone. It may send you a notification letting you know that somebody's replied or responded to your text. But trust me, I've been using both systems for quite some time now. StayInContact just does a better job of notifying you when incoming text messages happen, because we have a lot more control over notifications through an app, as opposed to sending messages to your phone via text or sending you an email. There's some things there that can kind of get in the way of you getting notified right away. So I think that's really, really important. Make sure you've got the app installed, if anything, just to get those notifications in a timely manner. All right, I'm liking the questions, guys. Let's keep them coming. It really does help. Helps to, well, it helps everyone, right? It really just helps everyone to see what kind of questions you all have, because of course the answers are going to be relevant for everyone as well. All right, so AI, exciting stuff. Lot that we can do with ChatGPT. I'm actually going to switch on over to ChatGPT right now, do a little switcheroo, and spend a bit of time in there, because I really feel there's just so much that we can be using this for, and that I would encourage all of you to be using it for. Specifically for stuff that you're going to use for video marketing. Because I think one of the big challenges when it comes to video is, like, what do I say? What am I trying to say? What is the purpose of this video? And this is what you can use ChatGPT for. So here's an example of a prompt, right, that you could use for video content. Let's say I'm going to tell ChatGPT to write me a video script educating home buyers on, let's say home buyers on the importance of hiring a real estate agent. And it's going to give you some ideas. Okay, now I'm not saying that this is exactly what you are going to say. And in fact, there are some instances where I will just copy and paste the information directly in. It's all good. There you go. But quite often I do use it as a launch pad, right? Like a starting point to give me some ideas that I can then run with. So as you can see here, when you are asking ChatGPT specifically for a video script, it's going to break it down into segments for you, which I do think is quite helpful. So segment 1, expertise and market knowledge. And that is going to kind of set the tone, right? You're introducing yourself as an expert. You're sharing your knowledge. You're sharing how long you've been in the industry, and that doesn't need to take more than like a couple minutes, right? But now you can get into segment 2, negotiation skills. Negotiation is an art, especially when it comes to real estate. Like, this is something that some people are just not thinking about, right? When they think that they can just go and buy a house without dealing with an agent, they're probably not thinking about what's going to happen when they get into a situation where there's multiple buyers involved, multiple offers. Negotiation is a huge part of working with a real estate agent. So why not spend some time talking about that and educating people on the importance of having a realtor who's got some serious negotiation skills. I love it how it even gives you these little, like, cut to an agent negotiating with a seller. Segment 3, access to listings and off-market opportunities. Okay, I did not even mention that in the prompt, but it's mentioning it in the script. So this also, I think, is a huge selling point for all of you, is letting people know that you have access to listings and off-market opportunities that are not publicly available. This is something that you're probably going to want to integrate into all of your communication, your email communication, your text communication, your follow-up scripts, because the common buyer, especially new buyers, are just not going to be aware of this, right? This is not something that they are probably even thinking about. So this is definitely worth educating people on. And it goes on from there. Like I just find this particular tool so incredibly helpful for ideas. And as I said, like you don't have to take it verbatim, but once you have something that you feel comfortable with, you just turn on your camera, you can have the script open on your screen, but just start creating some content based on these things. And once you do, you can go ahead and integrate it into your website, right? A great example of somebody who's doing this, and I've used him many times in my demos and training, is George Lorimer. He's constantly creating content, and his blog is a really good example of that. I always go to his blog because that's where I can usually see a lot of the latest stuff that he's doing. So he's just always kind of thinking of new ways to interact with his audience. Of course, offering market reports and stats. Like he's got this market report, he's created a video for it. He's obviously, sitting in his office in front of his computer with his camera on, but he just, records those videos, gets them up. He doesn't take a precious approach to it. He just gets it done and puts that content out there. And it certainly helps, right? It definitely helps to establish him as an industry leader. And we even create like very specific landing pages for these things. Like he's got a whole section for cash offer. And we've got some very targeted landing pages for this. So are we using this in our marketing? Absolutely. Are we incorporating it into all of our follow-up? Yes, we are. Are we prioritizing content, right? Content first? Yes. And that all ties into the social media. That all ties into pretty much everything we're doing to try to get in front of our audience and create a stronger audience base, right? That's the idea. Create a stronger base, and it does take time, right? And it does take effort. There's no doubt. But tools like ChatGPT, super, super helpful for doing that. Okay, I'm going to turn the old camera back on because I do want to talk to you a little bit about audience targeting and how we should be approaching that when it comes to our advertising. So audience targeting, I mean, there's lots of different tools out there that can help you with this. I know that especially in the US, you have expired lists that you can go after. You have very specific mailing lists that you can purchase perhaps and maybe send some mail content out to. You may have a segment within your database, right, that you have marked as being your ideal audience, your sphere of influence. Take some time to do that, because if you've been following up on leads and you've been having some conversations and you know that there's some future business in the CRM, make sure you're marking those, because we can go back to them. We can launch specific re-engagement plans to them. We can upload them as custom audiences. Let's really put a big focus on targeting a more specific audience, because you are going to find that your response rate will be higher and your conversion rate will start to grow as a result of that. Another thing that I would say is very effective is getting more leads from your listings. I don't have something at my fingertips right now to share with you, but I will say, as we move into the new year, any open house that you do or that you participate in, let's optimize that sign-in process. Okay, let's make sure that we're not having people sign in to a piece of paper. We are providing them with a digital sign-in that is going to flow into the CRM. So now we're using our open house as an opportunity to generate leads, people that we know are in the neighborhood that are probably actively looking to buy. Those forms are also going to help to qualify that audience. We're going to be asking, are they working with an agent? Do they live in the neighborhood, right? We're going to ask for the information we need to help us grow this much more targeted audience. So open house marketing, we are going to talk more about that in the coming weeks, because this is something that I want all of you to start doing with your open houses. And then finally, with audience targeting, we have to create that audience specific content. So example of this, if we're going after sellers, if we want to promote a cash offer, let's have some very specific content that deals with that topic. And that way we are going to have all of the tools that we need to convert that audience, right? And I would say that you probably want to give yourself like a good 6-month runway for that, knowing that the sales cycle can be a bit longer, but the the content is just really, really important. Make sure you have that. Having those newsletters, having things that you can just post on a regular basis on your blog. Let's try to just do a better job of that, always with this idea that we want to get in front of our ideal audience, right? That's exactly the goal. And I think we can do it. I think it's totally achievable. All right, we got a couple minutes left. I'm just going to take a quick look at the chat. Of course, let me know if you have any questions about the either the command center or any of the content that we've gone through today. I will, of course, I know that Dave has been answering a lot of these questions as well. Azim's asking about the open house form. We do have it. I just don't have it right now loaded up on my computer. So that is something that we will be showing for sure. And other than that, I think we're good for the questions. I don't see any new questions coming in. So I think we're probably going to wrap it up there, but hopefully we've given you some good nuggets here, and that you can start to think about using AI, using ChatGPT as a tool to get you into more of a habit of creating content, giving yourself an easy way to build that content and stay in front of your target audience. We will be back next week. So I will remind you, if you have any questions for either myself or my team, please do not hesitate to reach out. You can reach us at successwebcare.com. That is successwebcare.com. I'll just pop it up on my screen one more time here. There it is. So you can text or call our support team at 657-227-0070. You can reach me directly, Christy at successwebsite.com. But I also keep a close eye on all the text messages that come through. So feel free to reach out to us there. Otherwise, I'm going to let you go, get back to work, and we will see you again next week. Thanks, everyone.